privilege of chatting with one of my sisters, and we were catching up about just life. And then she told me something that triggered me to think about what I'm going to talk about today. I was telling her I went to bed, and as I lay down, I had a bit of like a choking on my own saliva, and I thought, that's fine. And that was a trigger of, I think, let me call it a cold, because I've been quite unwell for the last couple of days and had like a sore throat and stuff like that. So when I was telling my sister about it, she said to me, things like colds just need like a trigger, and that trigger is what can actually result into someone being unwell. You just need a trigger for you to start being unwell. You might have had the virus around you for a while, but because there was no trigger, then you are okay. But the moment there is a trigger, then then you start to feel unwell. And that made me think about as human beings, basically, generally, in terms of our health, because we are all about nutrition and things like that. And I was thinking, what are my triggers? What are my triggers in terms of healthy eating or unhealthy eating? Because there can be triggers on all sides. And today I'm going to talk about the negative triggers, because I know some of us can have things like emotional eating, and it's not like black and white when it comes to things like emotional eating. I wouldn't just say it's like, oh, you are an emotional eater, blah blah blah, because there's so much to it. There is there's so much behind it. There's some hormonal issues. There can be so many different things. So I just don't want to blanket it and say it's all the reason why there's emotional eating and things like that. But if you are an emotional eater, the question will be, what is your trigger? What is that thing that triggers you? That you find the moment you're triggered, the first thing, and when you're triggered, what's your response, right? Because somebody can trigger me today, maybe by annoying me or doing something. And when I'm triggered to do something that I don't generally, naturally want to do, the response might be, I don't want to do it. And because I do not want to do it, then I'm not going to do it. But when you are triggered, what are the responses? Like I was talking about emotional eating. What are those things that really trigger you as an individual that you're thinking about? I'm going to go into, let's say, binge eating, into drinking and things like that, into things that can actually be not beneficial for your health and things like that. I've got a friend of mine who's done a very good job to lose quite a significant weight. And we were chatting about this the other day, and I can see some of you live with me. Good to see you. And we were chatting about it the other day. It was asking me and saying, like, if I go out with my friends or my parents or whatever, what is it gonna be okay? Am I still gonna be okay with my dieting? And that made me think about the triggers as well, right? Christmas is coming. Next week is gonna be Christmas. When you get to that day, is your trigger gonna be maybe the fear of being left out, the formal fear of missing out, or is it gonna be your trigger? Can be, for some of us, it could be just the presence of food. Some of us, it could be smell of food. Some of us, it could be past experiences. And those are things that can actually easily trigger us to get to a point where we offset a healthy balance. When you are triggered into that thing that you do not want, you should not give up. As Anish is saying, do not give up, right? When you are triggered, one of the things that I've realized for myself is identifying the triggers. As I said, once you identify the triggers, number two, what are you going to do about it? Because you can identify your triggers, right? If you are struggling with weight at the moment, as I mentioned, I had a baby, and obviously it's been a little bit of a tricky one losing weight, as they say, with baby number two. But then for me, sometimes I realize sometimes the things that trigger me into unhealthy patterns and things like that is, for example, if I'm stressed out, I want to reach out for a chocolate because I know that's comfort for me. Or if I am if I am exhausted, I might want to reach out for, let's say, like a quick fix or fast, something that is just quick and easy to get, a packet of crisps or things like that. But then once you've identified your triggers and you know the things that sorry, I got interrupted. I don't know what happened. My live stream seems to have just decided to disappear. But I was saying, what do you do when you are triggered? Once you're triggered or something happens that triggers you in any way, how do you respond to those triggers, right? For example, one I've always said, if your trigger, for example, into binge eating can be something like the moment I see food, I go crazy, or for me, if it is stress that makes me to want to reach out for unhealthy food. What I've done, for example, in my house, I would have shown you guys, but my girl is sleeping next to me here, and I do not want to go. What I've done is that what I've actually realized and I do is that I get my food next to, I get all my fruits and vegetables next to the kitchen as you're entering in. That exactly is the first thing that you see. And so when I get to my kitchen, I will see my fruits and vegetables. Once I've seen my fruits and vegetables, I'll be able to eat that, and then later on I'll be able to reach out for all the other things that I want. So in the end, by the time I'm trying to find whatever that I'm not interested in, or the fast food or the processed and things like that, I would have already been able to deal with my triggers. The other thing that you can also do, if you identify those triggers, what can you do about them, is asking yourself, in which way can I be able to avoid those triggers, right? I can see your comment, Charlotta, but I appreciate your comment. Truly, what you're saying may make sense to you, but again, that could be something that could be triggering. Maybe what I'm saying to you is triggering something to you, and that is triggering you to go into a defense mode, to go into like an attacking mode. But it's okay. There's no problem with that, because at the end of the day, YouTube is a free to watch forum, and so sometimes we are allowed to express our views. And as I was saying, sometimes some of the triggers can be past hurts, can be emotions that are attached to different things, and being able to identify them so that you can be able to deal with them is so important, and especially when it comes to the area of health and wellness. That's the most important thing that I am much more interested in. And so, if you have, for example, issues to do with your emotions, if issues to do with past hurts, what are some of those scars that when you see them, they trigger you? For some of you, maybe Charlotte, it could be you have your own issues that maybe I've said something that has triggered you, and because you've been triggered, what you're thinking at the end is to respond by being personal and things like that. But it could be some underlying issues that you can be able to tell yourself, what is it that is underlying, and how can I be able to deal with those underlying issues? If it is, again, as I say, the most important thing for me is usually wellness. You cannot be able to be well, you cannot be able to enjoy wellness if you have other things. I usually say you can eat your food, you can drink your water, but if you're not well in your emotional well-being, you're not well at all. And so if you're not well, you'll pick up fights and quarrels with people that I usually tell my friend, you will bleed on people that never caught you, because at the end of the day, you don't know how to deal with your triggers, right? You will bleed on people that never hurt you in the first place, or you'll start hurting other people, because hurt people hurt people. But when you get to a point where you identify your triggers and asking yourself, what is it that I can do so that I can get a better person? If I get to be a better person, if you are like me, you can go try to find, nowadays, nutrition is something that you can find information anywhere. You can find information on YouTube, you can find information online, and trying to understand how you can overcome, let's say, if it's emotional eating, maybe by, as I said, for me, I put fruits and vegetables the first thing in my kitchen, so that when I drop in my kitchen, the first thing I see are my fruits and vegetables, And of course, also when I go shopping nowadays, I try to avoid buying fast food, because if I have food that is no good in my house, let's say processed food, I will be like, oh well, I spend my money on buying these, and so because of that, I want to use it, and because of that, it becomes like a roller coaster, and it gets to a point whereby you will not be able to come out of that unless you stop. Sometimes you have to starve the sumo, isn't it? What is the sumo that you have to starve and say, I'm not going to do this, I'm not going to follow that? Daniela says, hurt people hurt people. That's the realistic thing I've ever had, right? Hurt people hurt people. When you have been hurt in your life, there is a chance that you'll always want to hurt other people. When you have been, if somebody does something wrong to you, there's a chance that you will want to do the same to other people. And so getting to a point where, as a saying, like trying to heal, so that you say to yourself, this sumo has to be starved, right? If it is something that you are stuck in, we're going into Christmas season. Some of us will get into Christmas and will just want to binge eat. There's nothing wrong with celebrating and eating, but it gets to a point where in January you'll still have to work through those weights, you still have to work through everything, but then you can still have those mechanisms before you get into January to say to self, I'm going to build the defenses. I am a Christian and I love reading my Bible, and especially the Proverbs. And I love one of the proverbs that says, build the hedge before you build a house. Basically, it means make a hedge of protection before you even think of building anything. And so it's like calling us to say, before you think about Christmas, before you think about how your plate will look like, start thinking about what can I do now so that when it comes to Christmas time, I will not get myself with the trigger, especially for those of us who are triggered with food. Because it can be, as I said, it can be a good trigger in a sense that you look at it and you're like, hey, Claire, stay away. But for where it becomes a problem is where the moment you see food, you lose your self-control. The moment you see food, it becomes like, this is a nightmare. This is like another demon that I have to deal with. And that's where the problem is, because I believe that we eat to live, but we don't live to eat, right? It's not that we have to allow food to be a master over us, but we have to master food. And so when it comes to a point where you come into Christmas and you're thinking, how can I be able to overcome all the vibes and everything where I've been invited to parties and everything? Just get yourself from the beginning and telling yourself, I'll go about this by ensuring that I have done something good, by ensuring that I've looked after myself, by ensuring that I've safeguarded myself, so that eventually come Christmas time, you will have already built mechanisms around you. So protection sometimes is a better thing. They say prevention is better than cure. And that's what nutrition is about, isn't it? Nutrition is about preventing diseases, so that once you are diseased, you'll have to go to dietetics, but you can prevent by ensuring that you eat a good diet, by ensuring that you sleep well, by ensuring that you do your exercises, you drink your water, you identify those things that you can be able to work through, and then at the end of the day, you get to a point where you have overcome some of these emotional issues that we can have around. What else what is the other thing that I was just thinking about as an important thing before I disappear is, yeah, for some of us, our triggers can be our companies, right? Who is in your community? I always say that show me your friends and I'll show you who you are. Show me the people you hang around with most of the time, and I'll almost certainly tell you who you are. You are the company of the most, you are a product of who you hang out with most of the time. Who are those friends? Who are those people that, where some people can be like, I know people have said, I'm going to stop drinking, I'm going to stop smoking so that I can live a clean life, so that I can move on. And then the moment they just made their friends, that's a trigger that is back. The smoking is back, the desires that they had are back, and things like that. And going to a point where you decide and say, I'm going to work hard, I'm going to work through every single, let's say, community. Think about those friends that you have, the friends that you don't need, the friends that you don't those communities that you don't need, you can get away from them and build yourself up with people that you can be accountable to. If you're struggling with food, for example, and then you build yourself with people that constantly they're talking about food, hanging around food, mentioning food, there's no way you'll overcome food problems. So if you have issues to do with food, then you have to find someone who's overcome that issue so that you can be able to get some help from it. So that's just something that I was thinking following a conversation um, that I had with my sister. And I want to just take this opportunity to thank you guys for all the continued support and to thank even Charlotta for your comment. You're not a good YouTuber. I truly appreciate that. Thank you for your comment and the feedback. And yeah, I've enjoyed having you guys online. If you haven't done so already, why not click that like, share, or subscribe button? It'll go a long way in supporting what we do. But apart from that, as you go into Christmas season, I'll just pray for you that you will be able to identify those triggers and you'll be able to find ways in which you can be able to avoid those triggers, because that will be helpful. Ryan, I can see your comment. Hi, Ryan. Let's see. Now I'm going to take some time to answer any questions. If anybody has any question for me, feel free to drop it in the chat. I will try to answer it before I disappear. If not, as I said, we're just trying to identify things that we can do well so that we overcome the temptations that come with New Year, end of the year, so that we can get into New Year when we are well kept and when we can identify, as I said, try to build your defenses before you need them. If you are an emotional eater, before you get to the point of being emotionally driven into eating, ask yourself, what are my defenses that can help me? Your defenses might be, for example, who are your accountability partners? Who are your people that you can go reach out to? Some of us may just need like a life coach. Some of us may need a counselor. Some of us may need a mentor. Some of us may need a nutritionist. Some of us may need a personal trainer. Identify who can you do life with that will help you to identify your triggers in life so that you become a better person. Because hang on a minute, 2026 is coming and I am determined to make 2026 or to be better in 2026 than I was in 2025. 2025 for me has been a roller coaster of emotions, a year full of ups and downs. I've rode the tides. They've been like sometimes when it's felt like really, really tough. There've been times when it felt like okay. But as we're looking into 2026, I want to get into 2026 with some defense mechanisms to say to myself, I'm working hard to lose the weight that I gained when I had my baby. I'm working hard to I'm going back into work. So I really want to be able to get more productive and things like that. And hey, it's also a moment where it will be worthwhile to try and start planning. If you haven't already planned for 2026 yet, think about it. What are the things that you want to do? I'm very big on health, wealth, and relationships. Those are the three important things that I really care for in terms of holistic for me, for my well-being. And I'm also already thinking in 2026, what am I going to do to show up for the people that I love in a way that I'm not giving them leftovers, rather than I'm giving them the first fruits. In terms of my wealth, how am I going to be able to invest? What am I going to invest in? How am I going to use my money? How am I going to steward what God has given me to go with into 2026? And then the third thing is the relationships. I've said that. And then the health, I've mentioned, like, how am I going to show up, go for my walks, hopefully go back into running. Because if you're new here and you may not know that, I love running. I've always been a runner, but for this year I haven't been able to run much, obviously because I had a baby, and because of that my weight has been something else, and I've not been able to go back into running because it's not the sensible thing to do. So maybe 2026 will be a year where we'll get back into running. So thank you so much for keeping company with me, guys. I truly love you. Those who support us, we really truly appreciate, and even those who dislike what we do, I truly appreciate, because that's still feedback, isn't it? I am a teacher, I'm a lecturer by profession, and when I usually say, when we give feedback, we don't just give feedback that is positive. Sometimes you have to give negative feedback, and so that's why it's important for us also to get sometimes dislikes, which is helps us to realize next time to be better. Fortnite Clips, thank you so much for your comment. I love the fact that you say I'm amazing. You're amazing as well. You are all amazing. I hope you know that you're loved, appreciated, and celebrated. I'll catch up again with you in the next episode, or in the next time that we get to catch up. But remember, number one, identify your triggers. Number two, deal with those triggers as you go into 2026. Even if you haven't seen all your 2025 dreams become a reality, we still have time. You can still get that done. And if you haven't done that, let it 2026 be a year of a difference, a year of productivity, and a year of great change and great impact for your life. May the Lord richly bless you and keep you. May he make his face to shine upon you and be gracious to you as you go into 2026. Let it be an amazing year for all of you. I want to hear your testimonies of how God has been good to you. Have a blessed day. I'll catch up again with you very soon. Much love and God bless you. Yes.